Guys, let's compare some fractions. So we're going to be seeing whether which one's greater or which one's smaller. So we have to do some comparison here. Now, have a look at this one, guys. We have 1 over 5 and 1 over 6. Which one do you think is greater? Now, see guys, 1 divided by a number. See, 5 is smaller than 6, isn't it? So 1 divided by a smaller number and 1 divided by a number that's a bit greater. Which one do you think is greater? Well, when we divide by a smaller number, it becomes greater, isn't it? So let's bring the 1 over 5 out, and then you can see that that's greater than that. So we can say that 1 over 5 is greater than 1 over 6 because the denominator is smaller. When we divide by something that's smaller, it becomes, the result is bigger than when we divide it up by more numbers, like 6 in this case. Alright guys, so that was the first example. Let's do another one. If you have a look, 3 over 5 and 4 over 5. This one's a little bit easier to work with because the denominators are the same. If the denominators are the same, guys, you only need to worry about the numerators. And you just have to pick the larger one. The denominator is the same. Which one is larger? Obviously 4. So the 4 over 5 is the bigger one. So then we can just make a little inequality sign and say that one's the greater one. Yes? That's how we can compare if the denominators are the same. Now we'll do more. If you have a look at these are mixed numerals. So with mixed numerals, it's even easier because all you need to do is look at the numbers in the front. Yes? So if you compare the numbers in the front, which one's greater? One of them is 3, one of them is 2. Which one's greater, 3 or 2? We definitely know that 3 is the greater one, isn't it? So therefore that one's the greater. We can write an inequality sign saying that that one is the greater one. That's what we have to do. Okay guys, so watch the comparison, see how I do it, and we'll do the questions together so you get a better idea. So we'll have a look at question 1. It says, which fraction is larger? And we have 3 over 5 or 2 over 5? Sorry, 2 over 3, sorry. So 2 over 5, 3 over 5 and 2 over 3. Which one is larger? We have to try to do some comparison, don't we? So, the 3 over 5, 2 over 3. The comparison isn't very easy at the moment because it's there isn't a right method of comparison that we can just have a look, just distinguish them just by looking at the fractions. So what we'll do is we'll do a little method by changing the denominators to the same number. So one of the denominators is 5 and one of the denominators is 3. Tell me guys, what is the lowest common multiple of 5 and 3? I'm thinking it's 15. Hopefully you got that as well. So I'm going to try to make them both have the denominator of 15. So what do I have to multiply to 5 to get to 15? 3, isn't it? So make sure you multiply the numerator by 3 as well. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm multiplying for the first fraction, top and bottom, by 3. And if I do that, I know that 3 times 3 will get us 9, and 5 times 3 will get us 15. So we'll leave it there for a moment, just leave it alone for a moment. Now let's work with the second fraction. So 2 over 3, I want to make the denominator 15. What do I have to multiply to 3 to get to 15, guys? 5. This time we have to multiply 3 by 5 to get to 15. So don't forget to multiply the top by 15, top by 5 as well. So if I multiply top by 5 and bottom by 5, the numerator will become 10 and the denominator will become 15. So now can you see that we have the same denominator? Yes? So now we can do the comparison. If you have a look, the first one's 9 on 15, the second one's 10 on 15. We are in the state of comparison. We can compare it very easily. So the denominator is the same. Just look at the numerators now. Which one's greater? Obviously, 10 is greater than 9, so this whole fraction will be greater. We can conclude like that. But guys, the question asks us which fraction is better out of these two. So, well, this one is the fraction that we've converted, isn't it? So we have to look at which one of these fractions this one corresponds to. And we know that that comes from 2 over 3, that one here. So we can conclude by saying that 2 over 3 is larger. That's the bigger fraction. Make sense, guys? Do you understand how we got to this state of comparison? That's the key part. So we'll do a bit more. Question 2, it says which fraction is larger? Okay, we have two fractions again, 5 on 6 or 11 on 12. Again, guys, it's very difficult to distinguish which one's larger at the moment. So what we'll do is the exact same thing as what we did in question 1. We have to make the same denominator, then it's so easy to compare. Now, the denominators are 6 and 12. I know that, guys. What is it, first of all, tell me, guys, what's the lowest common multiple of 6 and 12? Now, hopefully everyone said it's 12. So, because 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 is just 12, yeah? So, as I said, guys, this one's already 12. So, all we need to work with is this one and make it into 12. 6 times 2 is 12, so make sure you don't forget to multiply the numerator by 2 as well. So, 6 times 2, 5 times 2. So, I'm multiplying top and bottom by 2, so I can make the denominator 12. So, as I said, the denominator is 12, and the numerator 5 times 2 just becomes 10. So, I've got 5 on 12, and you know that the second fraction is 11 on 12. We are in the state of comparison because, see, the first one 10 on 12, the second one 11 on 12, they both have the same denominator. Now all you need to do is pick the right one. So, now the denominator is the same, just look at the numerators, which one's greater, 10 or 11? Hopefully every single one of you said 11, so therefore this fraction is larger. But again, guys, this fraction, it corresponds to this one, but we didn't change it at all, right? So the larger fraction is just 11 on 12. That's the larger fraction out of those two. Make sense, guys? So just focus on changing the denominators so they correspond to each other. Alright, question 3. Which fraction is larger? And again, we have two different fractions, 3 on 8 or 5 on 12. Again, let's do the same thing. Tell me, guys, look at the denominators, 8 and 12. What is the lowest common multiple of 8 and 12? I can immediately think that it's 24. Hopefully you guys got that as well. So I'm going to make the same denominators, 24, for both of these fractions. So let's start with the first one. 8 times what is 24? 8 times 3 is 24, isn't it? So let's multiply top and bottom by 3. So then the numerator becomes 9 and the denominator is 24 as we wanted, wasn't it? Now let's look at the second one. 12. 12 times what makes 24, guys? 12 times 2 is 24. So multiply the numerator and denominator by 2. So 5 times 2 is 10, and the denominator is 24 as we wanted. And you can see now, we have 9 on 24 and 10 on 24. We are in the state of comparison. Let's have a look at which one's larger now. All you have to do is spot it. So the denominators are the same. Now look at the numerators. Out of 9 and 10, which one is greater, guys? Obviously the 10, so this fraction is larger. And which fraction does this correspond to initially? This one here, 5 on 12, isn't it? That was the initial fraction, and we converted to this one, didn't we? Just to make it easy to compare. So the answer, as you conclude, should be 5 on 12. You can say 5 on 12 is the larger fraction. Make sense, guys? So again, we did the same thing by changing the denominators the same. Let's go further. Question 4. Which fraction is larger? And this time we have two mixed fractions, mixed numerals. So I hope you remember in the very beginning I told you that when we have mixed numerals it's even easier because all we need to do is compare the numbers in front. So if you have a look at the two numbers, I just put them correspondingly. Which one has the larger number in front? If you have a look at the numbers in front, this one's a 3. So that one's a 2. Which one's greater, 3 or 2? Obviously 3. So this fraction, guys, is the larger one. So we can say that 3/1/3 is the larger fraction. So I told you, mixed numerals are much easier to distinguish. Just look at the numbers in front and just spot the larger one. Let's do another one, yeah? Which fraction is larger? This time we have one mixed numeral and one improper fraction. So we have to put them into the right form. We can't really compare if one's a mixed numeral and one's an improper fraction. So what I'll do is I'll change the mixed numeral, to an improper fraction. How do we do that? Hopefully you guys have revised this. 3/8, we can change it. We can separate it like this. 16 on 8 plus 3 on 8. Yes? Because 16 on 8 comes from the 2. The 2 here is exactly same as 16/8 because 16 divided by 8 is 2. That's what I did because I want to make the same denominator. So now that we've made the same denominator, we can add the numerators together, 16 plus 3, which simply becomes 19. And now it's not a mixed numeral anymore. So we've done that. We've done the first step. We've changed the first one into an improper fraction so they're both in improper fraction form. But now we have to do the comparison. but it's not easy to distinguish just yet because the denominators are not the same. So now our second task is to make the same denominators. So the denominator here is 8, the denominator here is 3. What is the lowest common multiple, guys? The lowest common multiple, I'm thinking, is 24. So what do I have to multiply to 8 to get to 24, guys? 3. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 3. Now 19 times 3 is 57. You can use a calculator if you don't know how to do that one. And 8 times 3 is 24 as we wanted. So well, let's just leave that alone for now. Let's work with the second one, because we have to convert that with the same denominator as this, isn't it? So 3. 3 times what is 24? We know that it's 8, isn't it? So let's multiply the numerator and denominator both by 8. So we have 7 times 8, 3 times 8. The denominator is 24 as we know, and 7 times 8 is 56. Yeah? So now we have the same denominator finally. So if you have a look, guys, the first one's this one. Well, start with the second one. And we have this one here. We are in the state of comparison because we have the same denominators. When we have the same denominators, our final task is to just compare the numerators. The numerator here is 56 and 57. Which one's larger? Obviously 57. So this one's the larger one. So we can say that 57, this one is the larger one, which comes from this fraction, isn't it? So therefore, that's the answer. We can say that this one is larger because that comes from that one, and therefore this one here, 2, 3 on 8, is the larger fraction. Alright guys, that was a bit of a process going on, but hopefully you understood that one.